Well, Merry Christmas, everyone. Probably my favorite Mass of the year is the Easter Vigil, because you can't compete with the resurrection. But this is close. I kind of feel like tonight, when we have the 10 p.m. Mass at Christmas Eve, you guys are my people, and I love you. And I feel like the crowd here tonight is a very special crowd. So I don't know if you know who Robin Pecknold is. If you do, you're a total nerd. So Robin Pecknold is the lead singer for Fleet Foxes. If you don't know Fleet Foxes, you're totally lame, and get with it. But actually, there's a profound image I want to share with you tonight. It struck me when I first kind of watched it. Morgan made me watch this, but about a year ago, on the winter solstice in 2021, he did a concert in Brooklyn, New York. And he did it in an empty Anglican church. It was the middle of COVID. It was kind of an image of everything that we've gone through together as a nation. And he put out an album called A Very Lonely Winter Solstice. So December 21st, 2021. And he chose that intentionally. So December 21st is the longest night of the year. It's the night of darkness. And there's more darkness that night than any other night of the year. It lasts longer than any other night. And he went to this church in Brooklyn, and he did a concert by himself. He had some backup singers. We'll get to that in a second. It was really beautiful. And I watched it, and I thought, what an image of the modern world that you and I live in. And what a profound, in Scripture, there's, especially in John's Gospel, there's a profound sense of prophecy of people who don't even know that what they're saying is prophetic. And I thought that was true with this concert. And what I want to talk to you about tonight is loneliness. Every one of us as Christians, Christianity is about communion. That's what it's about. At the heart of Christianity is the mystery of the Trinity. A communion that you and I are called to enter into eventually. If we are saved, that we will enter into a communion that is beyond what we could imagine. We will be loved, and we will love in a way that we never thought was possible. But that means that in a certain sense, we have to understand loneliness. And I know it's true of you. I know it. It's true of me. I'm lonely. It's not just because I'm celibate. It's part of it. You're lonely too, and I know it. If you're in the best marriage ever, there's moments of loneliness. If you have profound friendships, if you have a life that is filled with goodness and blessings, there's loneliness. And our culture today is experiencing loneliness on a profound level. COVID messed us up, didn't it? It messed up Lord's. I made mistakes during COVID. The church at large made mistakes. It drove us to distrust each other. There were problems. There still are. Loneliness is part of the experience of the church, but it's part of human life. So Robin Pecknold, and again, I don't think he knew how prophetic this was, but he went into this church in Brooklyn, beautiful concert, played by himself, didn't allow the rest of his band to come. And very interestingly, the only people with him in this concert, he had a backup group of singers, and it was a group where everyone identifies as non-binary. And I know in the church right now, we believe what the church teaches. You have to. We should. It's common sense. It's divine revelation that male and female is good. But think of those people. Is there anyone in our culture right now who is more lonely than someone who does not identify with their own body? I can't imagine someone more lonely. So what is tonight about? If someone dragged you here tonight, you're like, oh my gosh, why do you go to this church? God knows why. Christmas is about light. If you read John's gospel, and I want to challenge you this tonight, brothers and sisters, tonight what I want to offer you is light. Is that God broke into this world and he gave us a light that none of us have. But the church, and what I want to offer you tonight, what I want you to understand, and I was praying with this honestly for the last couple of weeks, the light that God gives us is because he entered into darkness. And so go home this week, tomorrow, you're going to be with your family. You're going to wish you weren't. Tomorrow, read John chapter 1. John 1 is about the incarnation. And John 1 is playing on the creation of the world. And St. John wants to tell us, like, when Christ became a man, the true light that enlightens every man came into this world. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it. Jesus Christ, when he came into this world, was light. And 2 points I want to make tonight. For us, it's light. When you encounter Jesus, I told the 4 o'clock Mass this night. The 4 o'clock Mass, can I just tell you, I give a terrible homily for. But it's so hard. It's like it's packed. Kids are screaming like crazy. No one wants to listen. They just want to get through Mass. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm just going to try my best. But here's the thing. When Jesus entered into the world, for us, it was light. When I found Jesus, and it's the other way around, right? When Jesus found me, there was light. But for him, when Jesus entered this world at Christmas and in the incarnation at the Annunciation, it was darkness. Because what happened with the Son of God is that he lived in the realms of eternal light. He was the Son of the Father. He lived in the eternal light of God, in perfect joy, in eternal splendor. Because he loved you, he set out into the darkness. And I was so struck listening to Robin Pecknold. I haven't been able to find him talking about that concert, but I watched it and it was beautiful. But it was so lonely. The darkest night of the year. And he chose that again, and he chose that very intentionally. December 21st, winter solstice. A very lonely solstice, as he called it, as he released that album. And so what is Christmas about? It's so easy for all of us. It's so easy for me, brothers and sisters, to settle for lesser joys. It's so easy to be distracted. We all are. I'm so distracted. I have so many things going on in my life. So many people around us in the culture today, they don't know that they are loved. They do not know that life has a purpose. They do not know that there's anything more than just, hey, have a nice retirement, have a nice home, enjoy some great experiences, have some great pleasures, and then you die. But not you. You wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't know the difference. You and I are different. You are different. I don't know how it happened in my life. I don't. But somehow, I looked at Jesus one day, and somehow his light broke into the darkness of my soul. And I knew I was loved. And I knew that despite all the suffering, despite all the questions, despite all the problems of this life, there is a God who loves us. And that the problems of this world, every one of you in this church, we all know it, every one of us in the church tonight, you have a problem. There is something in your heart, in your soul, that's difficult. Maybe it's an external thing. Maybe your finances are in trouble. Right? I go to Costco and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did that cost $3,000? Holy moly. Father John eats a lot. Maybe that's your problem. Maybe the problem is you don't know if you love your husband anymore. Maybe your son or your daughter is struggling and you don't know what's going on with them. Maybe you have a son or daughter who's gay. And you say, Jesus, where's the light? The church, and so to try to wrap this up, the church is about communion. You guys are my people. I love you guys so much. And the church is a group of people who have been brought together to love each other through the love of God. But to enter into that, you have to enter into loneliness. And here's why. Because the salvation of the world was that God left the light and entered into darkness. This is the good news of Christmas. It's no accident that Jesus found no room at the inn. It's not a fact of history. It's a theological truth. There is no room for God in this world. And real communion, real depth, where we love each other, where we find communion with each other, where we find communion with God, it's only possible if you and I pass through loneliness. There is no room for Jesus at the inn. There is no room for him in this world. Because real love costs more than the world wants. It costs more than I want. I just want it to be so easy. Tonight, brothers and sisters, rejoice. The Lord loves you more than you could possibly imagine. He left perfect bliss and perfect joy to be born in a cave, to be rejected, to be poor. His poverty made you rich. His loneliness brought you communion. This is the good news that not enough of us know. So this Christmas, there's not just a surface level of joy. I love Christmas. I was with my family tonight, and it's such a joy to be with my nieces and nephews, to see them rejoice at Christmas gifts and to be with family. It's good, it's beautiful, it's true. Christians know, though, the real joy. The real joy is that God, who has perfect communion, became lonely, he became isolated, he became rejected, so that you and I will have communion forever. If you feel lonely as a Christian, that's a great blessing. It's a great blessing. The path towards eternal communion, eternal love, only passes through the cross. Another sermon, if I had more time, which I know you're praying that I don't. Your prayers aren't going to work, but if we had more time, all the stories about the Nativity, they all relate to the cross. Jesus is born in a cave. He's buried in a cave. That's no accident. At the beginning of Matthew's gospel, he's proclaimed king of the world. At the end, he's proclaimed king of the world. The birth of Christ is all about the death of Christ. The wise men bring myrrh, which is what he's anointed with as his burial. Okay. So, Lord, tonight, may we have true joy. Jesus, not a surface level of joy. Lord, I am not joyful tonight that things went well or that I got a gift that I wanted or that life was a little better. Jesus, you left eternal joy because you loved me. And Lord, I'm lonely a lot of my life. But you left perfect communion so that I would have unity with God himself. Lord, for those of us tonight, all of us here, Jesus, everyone who's here tonight, Lord, may you fill us with perfect joy. Your poverty will make us rich, and your loneliness will bring us true union with the Father and with all who love you.